Welcome back to another Disorderly Reviews at Transcendent Studios. Today we're reviewing TUNCHE. It's a free-to-play game for a while on the Epic Game Store. It's part of our Get 'em While It's Hot series. So if you enjoy what you see here, feel free to grab it up. For more information, please scan the QR code on the right. Okay, let's get into this. TUNCHE is an interesting game. It's a beat 'em up, a multiplayer beat 'em up, which is great. Similar in vein to Castle Crashers, but it's a little different in a few ways. Like most beat 'em ups, the calm is pretty low. I gave this calm score a rating of 4. It requires almost constant movement and button mashing to make it through the levels. And the levels felt very monotonous early on. And because it's not a scrolling beat 'em up, it only goes by single screens. It feels like you're kind of stuck. You don't have this progression feel to it. It has more of the feel of a mobile game where you upgrade a lot of things to make it through. Speaking of which, Control I gave a 5. There's some very technical movement. There's some very difficult fighting type controls, and you're actually judged on them in this game, which I find very interesting. You're judged on how well you do combos and whatnot. I would think one-handed play in this game would be almost impossible, and it has a huge amount of button mashing, which made it difficult for me to play for even longer than 10 minutes. However, it does have upgrades and a lot of the buffs and perks and skill trees that make the later game a little easier. Community I gave a 5 to. It actually does allow 4 players to play at one time, which is awesome. Unfortunately, there's no ability to revive your fallen allies, so you end up playing alone if you're the best player, and that's kind of sad. It does share some of the perks, or it does keep some of the perks and upgrades from previous playthroughs, which is great. So your players do level up, but you end up playing alone, which I feel is kind of sad for a party game and brought that rating down to a 5. Bite-sized, I gave a 3 to it. I still am unclear at how this game actually saves. While playing, if you want to pause or go back, it recommends just quitting instead of going back to the base camp. Because if you go back to the base camp, you lose all your progress and power-ups from that level. So it's kind of odd. And I do know that certain upgrades stay through death and multiplays with multiplayers, but it's still kind of unclear to me how and what gets saved and why and when. So bite-sized, I gave a 3 to it. Aesthetics, I gave an 8. I find it's a beautiful game. Very well animated, great sounds. There's tons of varied characters and enemies and different attacks and skill trees. It's really beautiful in the aesthetics world. But there's much to this game that I think could be better. Speaking of which, the value I gave a 3 to. At a $20 game price, for 12 hours of play, which I believe are padded with tons of death loops, kind of like Castle Crashers, where you just die and die and die until you can build up enough of your skill tree and levels to make it through certain levels. I think that there's better beat-em-ups out there, like Scott Pilgrim or even Castle Crashers for the price. So you may find that this game isn't quite right for you, but as a nice looking simplistic beat 'em up, it's an okay game. For free, it might be worth grabbing up and seeing if you really fall in love with the system and the upgrades and stuff like that. And definitely for community, it's rare to find games that you can play 4 players at once with. I do agree with their assessment. It feels better when using a joystick, but My fingers wore out very quickly, which is why I rated this game a D for disability, as it's constantly moving, has difficult to master controls that require a lot of button mashing. The multiplayer is limited, and I found it to be a repetitive but progressive beat 'em up with beautiful art. Here's an overview of the ratings visually. I hope this helps you understand if this game is right for you and your healing journey and your enjoyment. Thank you for trusting us and our reviews here at Transcendent Studio. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love it if this helps you and your friends in your life to enjoy gaming a bit better from their disabled standpoint. Thanks again for joining us at Transcendent Studios, and have a great day.